Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Reno by V, and today I'll be showing you my first project that I did, which is this dresser. So I took the drawers out and took everything apart that I could, and I used this TSP, which is the heavy duty cleaner, to get all the gunk and the grime off the dresser, especially being that it's very old. I originally took off the backing for the dresser and I ended up putting it back on later on because it wasn't as bad as I thought. Now I'm sanding with a 220 grit paper in order to rough up the edges and the surface of the dresser so that the paint would have something to adhere to. Now I'm using this Bondo wood filler in order to fill in any cracks or any chips in the furniture. And you can use any wood filler that you would like. It doesn't really matter about the brand. I know they even have like plastic wood filler, so honestly anything works. It's not a big deal. Any kind of putty. Now it's time for me to prep and prime, and I'll be doing that after I seal off all my drawers to make sure no paint gets inside of it. And then I'll be priming my dressers with the shellac base primer. For my primer, I put on 2 to 3 coats because I want to make sure that none of the colors from the dresser peek through. Plus my paint is going to end up being white as well, and white is usually very sheer. Now I'm sanding down my furniture with 400 grit paper just to knock off that little gritty beads that happens from the sprayer. And I'm touching and feeling along the way to make sure that I've gotten it all so that I can just have a nice and smooth finish. I'm using this thing with my air compressor called Aromatic that I got from Harbor Freight for like $2. And I'm just blowing off all the excess dust from when I was sanding the furniture. So right here, I forgot to fill my holes for the hardware that I'm going to be using. So I've already primed, and now I have to go redo this and then prime again. So originally there was a piece that was right here, and I ended up taking it off because it wasn't giving it that modern look that I wanted. And then when I took it off, I saw that it was MDF. So I just ended up putting putty on it and, you know, using my heat gun to dry it faster. And then I sanded it down in order to match the rest of the furniture. So after I sanded it down, I just, you know, felt over it and felt what needed to be filled with any cracks or any gaps that's left, and sanded that down once again, and then I primed again. Being that I sanded this area so many times, I want to make sure that I gave it that extra coverage, and the Shellac Bullseye spray paint primer would do that for me. And, I had a scratch on the top of the dresser that I accidentally made when I was moving the drawers, so I have to fill that in again with the wood filler and lightly sand it with 220 and prime it again. The paint that I used was the Behr's chalk paint that can be found at Home Depot. I believe it was in color Vanilla Frosting. And if you're going to use this in a sprayer, you got to make sure that you add a little bit of water and mix well, or it'll be too thick to go through the sprayer. I spray painted my furnitures with 2 to 3 coats of this paint, and I let it dry in between each coat, which took me about 30 minutes. Now, after my paint is finished drying, just taking this 400 grit paper again to just smooth out all the little rough edges and the little bumps from the sprayer so that the finish is nice and smooth. Now I'm using this paintable silicone caulk that I will be using to seal all the cracks that are left over on the dresser. Now I'm going to use this very thin polyurethane sealant for my dressers, and I'll be giving it 3 coats. And also you got to remember that you have to make sure that this polyurethane is water-based. It's very important for your furniture process. And here is the finished product when everything's dry and nice and smooth. So for the hardware, decided to go with these gold pin lights that I got off Amazon. So I was trying to choose between this hardware for the knobs or if I would go with this hardware. And I think that this one looks way better than the circular knob, so this is what I end up going with. Now we're at the end of the video, and this is the staging, and this is how I staged it, and I'll be listing it on Facebook Marketplace. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel below, and thank you for watching. Bye!